Welcome to Rolling Conversations with James and Sarah. Sarah's back.
I'm back.
And seminars, are they worth it? Should you go to them? What are your thoughts? That's what we're going to get into today. We just finished another seminar with Carlson Gracie Jr.
Always a good time.
Always a good time. And we've been to quite a few of his seminars. They're great. We've been to a lot of other seminars with other instructors, different things like that. We go to them because they're fun, and it's not always somebody that we may know personally or have even heard of, but we just enjoy, at least I enjoy.
Well, I like seeing different styles.
Different styles, for sure.
And, you know, just being around other people in the jiu-jitsu community.
Yeah. And so, what are your thoughts on not the seminar that we just had in particular, but
seminars in general?
Seminars in general.
I love them. Granted, I do think that some places are very expensive.
Yeah.
But no, I like them, especially whenever they're ones like how Junior does them, and it's 2 hours on, you know, a random day, whatever. Local seminars are fun because, you know, you're supporting local gyms and you're getting to see other people in your community. But like I'd like to know how many people actually go out and do these like week-long camps, like the Origin Maine. They do the immersion camp, and then there's other people that have week-long.
What's the one you were just talking about in Hawaii?
It's with Kikoa Collective with Kendall, and I mean, that would be amazing to go to, but the camp itself, just the camp is $2,500, and then you figure flying from our home airport, Tampa or Orlando, to Hawaii, that's going to be another $2,500. So,
yeah.
Spending $5,000 on a vacation based around jiu-jitsu, I mean, not that I wouldn't want to do it, but if I'm going to spend $5,000 and go to Hawaii, I want to hike and do all the dive and go and surf, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
I want to go and do all of the things, and so I'm not dogging it. I think it's wonderful. If you are made of money and that's what you want to do, awesome. But I want to go to like an immersion camp. But I think I probably want to stay stateside to do it. It would just be cheaper.
Yeah, and you know, there's two different things, I think. There's the seminar like we just had with Junior, and then there's the week-long camps. We've done week-long camps. Like 4 day camps.
Yeah.
Junior does one. He does a summer camp every year down in Melbourne, and it's a blast. For us, it's just a drive down in a hotel.
Yeah.
So
but they're also part of our network too. So
yeah,
we're seeing.
Yeah, but there's people that come from all over.
Oh yeah, no, I know.
All over the country. And for those, it's fun because there's usually multiple instructors, so you get different takes, different styles. You know, you're not going to learn anything new at these seminars. If you're
yeah, it's not changing your whole game.
If you're a blue belt and up, your chances are you're going to comprehend or know what's being taught in there. It may just be taught from a different perspective. And I know as long as I've been training, every seminar I've been to, I always learn one thing. I always get one thing, and it's not that the technique is new or I don't understand it, but there's a variation or a grip that just makes life a little easier.
Yeah.
And sometimes it may be something that I knew and just forgot, and it's like a reminder, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I either didn't know that or forgot that. So you know, and I think we should come back to the week-long things.
Yeah.
But
shocking, I got sidetracked.
But seminars at your local school.
Well, hold on. The taking one or two things away from the seminar, I think that is the whole point of the seminar, though. Let's be real. Even in the 2 hours that we just spent with Junior on Monday, he showed six different things from closed guard, right?
Yeah.
Do I remember all 6 things? No, I don't. I think I remember 4. But the takeaway, 1 or 2 was that you take away from it. Like, and I did. I took a couple of things away. And even one of the things that I took away wasn't even junior. It was a side conversation I had with Tiago from Carlson Grace Orlando.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that is the whole point, is just seeing different styles. But, you know, I'm not an anti-gi person. Everybody thinks that I'm just a no-gi heathen and I don't like the gi. And I do like the gi. But it's just freaking hot in Florida and I don't want to wear it all the time. But I will say Monday kind of, I think, rekindled a little bit of love that I do have for it, because I do feel like gi is a much more creative, like, part of jiu-jitsu.
It is. I agree with that, and I do kind of enjoy gi.
That is a lot.
But
he tolerates gi.
But I agree, it's just too hot right now in
Yeah.
Florida. But seminars, you know, the way I look at seminars is a couple of different things. You're going to go to them for multiple reasons. You're going to go to, if it's your home school, you're going to go because they're bringing somebody in. They're bringing somebody
For
in
you.
For you. They're not bringing it in. Schools don't really make money off the seminars. Every now and then, you know, you get some of these famous celebrity style jiu-jitsu instructors who charge astronomical fees, and the gym might get a little kickback from that because they charge like an exorbitant amount of money just to show up. So they will get a little kickback, but it's, you know, as a former gym owner, it's not worth the time. The return's just not worth the headache. But your average seminar, like Junior coming to town or the other guys we've had, you're really doing it to support the school, because chances are it's somebody from your lineage that is coming down to support your instructor. You're supporting your school. You're making your own school. You're representing your school very well when you show up. And it is an investment. And they kind of, you know, the fee, they used to be like a $50 fee, $100 fee or whatever. But now they talk about investment. It is an investment because you're investing in yourself, but you're also investing in your school. And you got to support your local gym. You got to support your local school, because you guys all go on YouTube, you all go on the internet, and you look at all these other people, you know, and you're watching these videos and you're doing this and you're doing that, but you're doing jiu-jitsu at your local gym. And if you don't support your local gym, where are you going to go to jiu-jitsu? You know, chances are you're at a school because a couple reasons. It's convenient to where you live, you like the people there, you like the instructors, and it's got a good vibe, like you're learning and it's a safe environment. If you don't support that, it's going to go away, and chances are you're going to have to drive further, be with a different group of people, and be with instructors that you may not jive with, or a team you may not jive with, because you're an outsider coming in. So you need to go and support it for that, but also you learn. You always learn. If you go to a seminar, if you go to a jiu-jitsu class, and you don't take something away, that's your fault. It's not the instructor's fault. I've had good instructors, I've had bad instructors, I've traveled the country all over, different instructors, and I've seen a lot of bad instructors, but I don't let that deter me learning. You know what I mean? Like I go there and I want to learn.
Well, because you're not just learning from the instructor, you're also learning from the people that you're training with.
Yeah.
Because you can pick something up from anyone. From anyone. Like.
Yeah. So, you know, that for the local seminars, there's a couple reasons, but at the end of the day, you need to support your local school. And then if you want to get some of those bigger celebrity type names, you're not going to do it. Your coach or your instructor or the gym owner's not going to go through the headache or the investment to bring somebody like that in if you won't even support a $50 seminar.
Right.
So how are they going to make a $10,000, $20,000 investment to bring somebody in that's going to cost you $250 or $350 when you won't even show up for a $50 seminar?
Yeah.
So, and I do get it, there's families out there that, they may not be able to afford.
Yeah.
Or, financial situations are different than choosing not to go because you don't want to pay the $50 for a class or a Saturday. You don't want to waste your Saturday and spend $50 for something that you feel you already know. You know what I mean? So, support your local school.
I do. I wish we were rich. If anybody wants to sponsor me to send me to a camp somewhere, I am accepting of all sponsorships. No, I want to go because, so I guess a woman's perspective, right? Who cares? So many people are going to turn the podcast off now. I want to do one of the all women's camps because I have a handful of women that I get to train with here, you know what I mean? On and off at the gym. And I do think it's so different going with women than it is going with men. Most of the time I would prefer, I think, to roll with guys because I don't know, I feel like I get to be a little bit more aggressive in that way. I hate to say that, but I do. But I just want to go and experience the week-long immersion camp where it's like from morning to night jiu-jitsu for a week. And I think it would be super fun. And even to do the Origin Main one, I think that would be, he is very needy tonight. Buddy, you need to go somewhere. Come on. I just think that would be really, really cool. I feel like those camps and things like that they're like perspective changing, events. We know people who have gone to a couple of them, and not only did it change their love for jiu-jitsu, but it changed their business and it changed their whole viewpoint on things, because it was, you think you're going to a jiu-jitsu camp, but you're really going to this mindset thing.
Well, it's also great for networking.
Yeah.
And it's great perspective.
I wish that we had lots of money because I would love to go to one. And I mean, the one in Hawaii sounds fabulous. And I did read about it. They are surfing there and doing shark dives and stuff. But it's
And Kendall reached out, and tried to talk you into.
Well, no, it was just, seeing if it was for real that I wanted to go. And Kendall, I do. I know you're not listening to our podcast, but I do want to go. It's just a lot of money, friend. I'm poor. But I don't think you're supposed to be rubbing your knee. But no, I want to know. I want to hear from people who have gone to those things, and if it's worth the money. It's very hard for us to say, oh, I wouldn't do that, or I wouldn't spend that kind of money.
If you've
I don't know. Maybe I would, but when I think about a $5,000, trip to Hawaii, I'm like, am I going to get to hike on all the things and see all the volcanoes
Well,
and
I
do all
think
the
you'd have
things?
to bake in extra time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's the opportunity cost of spending that kind of money on a jiu-jitsu camp versus spending that kind of money on just checking the hell out of life and going on vacation. I don't know. I want to find one. Alchemize does a women's camp in Texas, and I tried to get some of the girls from my school to go, but we are all poor. But I don't know. I would love to hear from people who have gone to those camps, whether they're all women's camps or not, just camps in general.
So a long time ago, back in the day,
were you still chiseling things?
Yeah.
In stone?
So we used to do MMA camps. We would do a week-long camp, and we'd invite, fighters and coaches from whatever, and, the facility back then was a lot bigger. We had a boxing ring, a cage, a weight room, big mat space. And we'd have guys come in, and I structured the camp, accordingly between, strength and conditioning, boxing, cage work, and grappling. We did it for about 3 years, but I was a dum-dum and did it for free and just opened it. And yeah, I know, right? But it was fun, and it like, but we didn't do, because it was, I didn't charge. It was, guys would come up and stay. They'd get a hotel or stay with friends or whatever, and met a lot of great people. And it we didn't do the networking and the socialing outside of training. We did 3 sessions a day. And we did the 3 sessions a day it was a 5-day thing. It was Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And then Sunday everyone just traveled. But we did 3 days, and it was fun. I know Sam Peterson has gone to the Origin camp.
Oh yeah.
A couple times. And after he went the first time, on the last day he said they did a special. If you signed up right then, you got a little bit of a price break. He said he'll do it every year. He said it was phenomenal, not just for the jiu-jitsu, but for the networking, the gathering, the bonding, the interaction. And, you know, some of the first year he went, I remember he said that he was rolling with a purple belt. He said, and the purple belt gave him a couple of little pointers, because the purple belt had a similar body type to Sam, which Sam is like 6'7", 200 pounds, 180 pounds maybe. And he's his is not a normal build. And, you know, trying to coach somebody like Sam trying to coach somebody like Sam with my body type can be difficult sometimes, because he can do things that I can't do, that I can't even show him. I have to like physically take his body like Gumby and bend him into parts, you know. So for him to get that, and Sam's a blue belt, and him to get that for, you know, an advanced purple belt, you know, for him it was game changing. There was a noticeable difference when he came back and was rolling. And he just went to it again, and same thing. Was phenomenal. And he said it was intense. But they do a lot of social networking, a lot of, you know, conversations and stuff outside of just, you know, the jiu-jitsu part. So I think that it would be fun. I think it would be an experience, and it's definitely, that is a significant investment. And but again, a lot of people get deterred from those, I think, because it's like, what am I really going to learn in a week? It doesn't matter what you're going to learn. It's the experience of it. You know what I mean? It's the experience. It's the bonding. It's, you know, a mini vacation.
I love vacations.
You know, and we have been fortunate. We have traveled a lot primarily for MMA. We did a lot of traveling, you know, from here to New York to California, and in between for MMA. And
traveling good. Do not miss the MMA part at all.
Yeah. MMA is not cool. But although it is kind of making a little resurgence, but still. But I think there's two differences between the immersion style camps and then the seminars, you know. And I think they both have their value, they both have their place. And I think a lot of it comes down to, you just got to have an open mind and go there and have fun, you know. Do you think that it's because people are insecure or nervous about going to those because
Yes.
they're worried about?
Yes, no, I was talking to someone, I cannot remember his actual name, I only remember his Instagram handle. But his wife had gone to one of the all women's camps, and I think she's a blue belt. And I had asked him, like, you know, because I didn't have her Instagram to message her at this point. And he had said, like, she was really nervous the first time to go, because in the itinerary of the camp, it had said, like, open mat training or whatever. And I think a lot of people have, like, they're very confident inside their own gym, in your own bubble, and I'm 100% guilty of this too. I think we all are like this. We are in our bubble, and we know where we sit in the hierarchy inside the walls of our gym. And then when you see open mat training or whatever, and you're like, oh. And then it's like, well, if I lose, am I really a blue belt? If I lose, am I really a purple belt? And you get all this in your head about it all being based on whether or not you're winning in training. But I think we all do it all the time outside of the comfort of our gym.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what she was very nervous about. So she wanted to take friends with her. And so like the first time, I think 2 girls went with her. And he said she came back and she was like, it was not at all what I thought it was going to be like. Yeah, she said it was like, she felt like it was a very like empowering place. And that nobody gave a shit about what anybody's belt color was or anything. Everybody just wanted to roll and train and have a good time together. And then I guess just in this past year, she went to a camp alone now. So she felt comfortable enough and she went to one by herself because her friends or her cousin or whatever couldn't go. And I was like, oh, like that, I think that's awesome, you know, but I do think like feeling nervous about like being an imposter. You know what I mean? In front of a bunch of people that don't know you, you're like, am I really a purple belt? I don't know.
That never goes away. We've talked about that before.
Yeah.
I talk about it. I get asked all the time. Guys, when they get promoted, they're like, I don't feel like I deserve the belt or whatever. And it's the guys that, you know, that are like, I want the belt. I'm, you know, whatever. But that part never goes away. And the confidence part is tough because it's not like golf. You know, you go and you play a course, and your game's your game. It's you know, your golf game. But when you go and you're going into another school and you're rolling against or with somebody, at the end of the day, we're all competitive, or we wouldn't be doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
So it's like if you get submitted, especially like if you get submitted with something you normally never get caught in, it's a little humiliating. But again, if you have an open mind and you learn from it, it makes you better. And you've got to get out of that bubble. I was guilty of it for a long time. Like whenever I first opened the gym, I had imposter syndrome for years. And it actually stunted my development and my growth. And because I didn't want to, we were doing a lot of MMA back then. I didn't want to spar with certain people. I didn't want to roll with certain people because I was worried, even though.
Like you didn't want to feel challenged?
Well, no, I didn't want to.
Or you wanted to make sure that
well,
you were
I didn't want to look bad in front of my students.
Yeah.
You know, and that was an ego thing completely on my part. Like that's something in that it took a long time. And I think when I synced up with Sam and Hoffa and Andrew, and they had such a big network, and if you remember, they started coming to our place a lot, and then we, you know, because we hooked up.
I think it did get better whenever you guys all started getting together every now and then. It was all a Purple and Up would get together and roll and just exchange ideas and have meetup. We really need to do that again.
Yeah.
If any of you guys are listening.
Yeah, because it was, I don't know, it was probably.
It's been a long time.
Over 10 years ago. But it was, but they had such a big network. You know, we hooked up with Junior 10, 11 years ago, and it was Sam, then Hoffa, and Andrew, and Junior. It was Sam. We hooked up with Sam first, and then everyone else just kind of fell into place. And but it was very humiliating. No, it was very humbling at first because I was not where I should have been as a coach, but I was a coach and not a student or a practitioner. And that was the first lesson that I learned from getting out of my comfort zone in jiu-jitsu is you're a forever student.
Forever.
You're a forever student.
And we know people who, they do not have that mindset.
Yeah, they can't get out of their own head. And I remember one of the first times I rolled with Sam. Sam was throwing me around like a rag doll. And I just remember the whole time going, I think I'm going to quit jiu-jitsu after tonight. But the whole time Sam was throwing me around, he's going, oh man, you're doing so great. You're killing it, bro. Man, way to keep, man, you're awesome, doing good. So he's like, I'm like going, no, I suck. The guy, it was like getting mauled by a polar bear. And, but he was like complimenting me the whole time. So I was like, but Sam's such a sweetheart. It's like, you know what I mean? It's not, he wasn't being disingenuine,
Yeah.
It was like, he was being genuine, but in my own head, I couldn't get out of it. So like, for me, I was like, I suck, I should quit jiu-jitsu. And then, rolling with, and then it's like, okay, my ego was so bad that I held myself back. I didn't want to expose myself. I didn't want to roll like I normally do. I didn't want to attack. I was so worried about not getting submitted that I was just getting mauled, and I basically laid there. But that was my ego, and it took me a little while to get out of that, and then remember, like, hey, this is a journey that never ends. The destination is always continuing. And then you roll with somebody like Hoffa, who's a friggin' silverback gorilla with perfect technique, and it's like, you look at Hoffa and you're thinking like you're gonna get around with him, and you're like, oh man, this guy's just gonna use nothing but brute strength and force. Mm-mm. No, it's like perfect technique. But it's very technical. But if you press that strength, then you get the strength back.
Yeah, you get the gorilla.
So it was very surprising to be like, oh my God, this is one of the most technical rolls.
Yeah.
But again, you get stuck in your head, and I think that happens.
Well, that comes from comparison, though.
Yeah, but I think that's why a lot of people won't go to seminars, and I think that's why they don't like to do the immersion camps, and that's why they don't like to, like the Carlson Network, and this isn't necessarily a commercial for Carlson Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, but it is what it is, and but the network is so big and it's so good and it's so welcoming that you can pop in and reach out and say, hey, I'm in town, this is the school I'm with, and they're going to treat you like family,
Yeah.
So you just got to get out of your head. First couple rounds, just realize you're going to suck, your adrenaline's going to be pumping, you're going to be questioning everything. And when you and I roll together, the first series, a lot of times it's like Groundhog's Day. It's like, okay, we kind of get in this rut unless we start in a random position. But then when we start rolling, like, it progresses to different things. So when you don't have that comfort zone of knowing what to expect,
Oh, yeah.
It's like almost like a mini competition.
Yeah.
It's like, and that's another great thing. If you've never competed before, like, try and compete. Get out there. If you don't have a school that has a network of other schools and other coaches and training partners, your only option is to go and compete.
Yeah.
Like, you need to get out, and that's where you test yourself,
I mean, we're lucky because we have like 5 schools in our network, so
close, like immediate area.
So like we do in-house tournaments, and then every other weekend Andrew's doing a judo scrimmage, and but on that topic of like imposter syndrome and stuff, I think it all stems from comparison. But when you really think about everybody's individual journey of jiu-jitsu, I'm a almost 42-year-old female purple belt. I am on a totally different journey than a 22-year-old female purple belt that maybe wants to be super competitive and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then you factor in that most of our training partners are men, and they're all late 20s, early 30s. Totally different mindset and journey. And I think people get caught up in the comparison of belts. Oh, well, you're wearing a purple belt and I'm wearing a purple belt, so we should be the same.
Yeah.
And that's not true.
No.
Should you have the same grasp on jiu-jitsu mentally? Like your technique and yes, you know what I'm saying? But your toolboxes are going to look totally different. So, I mean, I think that has a lot to do with it too, is that jiu-jitsu is growing in popularity, and the shit is all over Instagram and YouTube and everything else, and people showing these wild ass techniques, which are super fun to watch, not necessarily super fun to try to do. But I do think that, like generally everybody says in life, comparison is the thief of joy, but that it's also that in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Because if you spend all of your time worrying about if you are the exact same kind of purple belt as the guy next to you, well, you're on a different journey.
Yeah, and that's the same with any belt.
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
No, I
that.
got
I'm saying you as a 50-year-old black belt is totally different than somebody who is a 25-year-old black belt.
Yeah.
You know what I, like?
No.
You started jiu-jitsu at different times. You're totally different. And then there's competitive jiu-jitsu versus people who just want to go in and choke their friends after a bad day of work. Come on, man. Go. And so it's different. And I think like that's where a lot of anxiety comes from with people too, is that they're afraid that people are going to look at them and go, oh, well, that they're not really a brown belt. They're not really a black belt.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you compare?
Yeah.
You're on different journeys.
That's true, unless you're training at a McDojo. And how do you know if you're training at a McDojo?
Do you check skills off of a list?
Is there mandatory attendance records? Do you not grapple until you're a blue belt?
That's a whole different podcast, because when I found out that shit was real, I'm baffled. I'm baffled, but it makes a lot of sense now. Some of the people who have come into our gym over the years, and from when it was ours, and now from recent times.
Like real recent times.
Like people come in and they'll say that they've been training for a year or a year and a half. We've had somebody come in that's been training over 2 years, and they don't know how to roll, or they don't know how to move their body. They don't know basic responses. They don't really know how to pass guard in a live situation. They've never done specifics before, like positional that is baffling to me.
Yeah.
That people would wait until they strap a blue belt on someone and then let them roll.
And then if that person decides to go and enter a tournament.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I did not know that was a thing. Like, I just recently found out that this was a thing. I mean, I guess I knew, but I never really put any thought process behind it.
We have family that moved away. And
well, no, yes, but that's been in the last 2 years.
Yeah,
in my head, that's recent.
Oh, yeah, true. So we have, and this person trained with me for years.
Well, he fought for years too.
Fought
different kind of
MMA, amateur, professional, grappled, but he never did traditional gi jiu-jitsu.
Right.
And so he was never belted. Well, he moved away and wanted to get back into training, and he signed up at the closest gym, recognizable name, but it was a combatives style self-defense jiu-jitsu. And he went in and properly, hey, listen, I've got X, Y, and Z training. Okay, what belt are you? Well, I never really had a belt, but I've been training for 10 years, So they said, all right. So he did it. He bought the gi, signed up, paid the fees, all that. And after about a month, he's like, hey, man, am I allowed to come to open mats? I just want to get some rounds in, because they literally just do technique. They do line drills and then technique, and then that's it. And they said, no, not until you test for your blue belt. And he's like, what do you mean I have to test for my blue belt? And don't get me wrong, some schools test. We have a good friend that tests for their belt. But he is testing, he also teaches traditional Japanese jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu, and judo. So that is something completely different. This place, you can't roll until you're a blue belt. And he ended up leaving, and it was like, man, I don't know what I have to do to get some rounds in. So he ended up leaving that gym. But yeah, that's how you know you're at a McDojo. And it's a great business model. Don't get me wrong. Like, they probably do very well. But it's not jiu-jitsu.
No, it's jiu-jitsu. It's just not. Jiu-jitsu is not the main point. The money is the main point.
The money is the main point. So, if you like this podcast and you want to support, subscribe, like, share it. And if you want to support us to help us keep doing more podcasts, we do have a clothing line that is jiu-jitsu related. I don't know if you know, Jiu-Jitsu Culture, and the 1845 company is a Florida lifestyle theme clothing company that we have, and then the Jiu-Jitsu Culture. So we appreciate the support, and we'll see you next time.